everyone and welcome back. It's Angela here and today is part 4 of my spare coverage. Make sure to check out the first 3 parts to find out some more bizarre things Harry has said, as well as Meghan considering she talks through him. Seriously, I'm talking about girly lip gloss stories, her vendetta against William and Catherine, the bridesmaid dress fiasco, and so much more. Before we start, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos each week. Let me know if you enjoy the spare coverage so I can continue making more videos. And without further ado, here are 3 more bizarre moments from Spare. Now I'm only doing 3 in this video because these are hefty stories, so sit back, relax, and grab yourself some popcorn while I take you through this tea. Number 1. Catherine reluctantly shared her lip gloss with Meg, leaving a mark on Harry and Meghan. Now, is it ever that serious? I don't usually read excerpts from Spare because I care about you guys and I want to save you guys the agony, but I want to read this little girly lip gloss story so you can see how biased and victim-based the entire book is. According to Harry, this took place at the Royal Foundation Forum in February 2018. Harry writes, Meg asked to borrow Kate's lip gloss, an American thing. Side note, they do this a lot. Both he and Meghan like to pretend that their weird behavior is an American thing. She didn't know how to curtsy because she's an American. She's a hugger, which is jarring for the Brits because she's an American. She wanted to be unsanitary because she's an American. Please. He continues, Meg forgot hers, worried she needed some, and turned to Kate for help. Look at the wording here. Meghan is so worried she didn't have lip gloss, and she turned to Kate for help. You're not dying.
There's people that are dying.
It's not an emergency. But the way this excerpt is written is to already paint Meghan as a warm angel who just wanted a little bit of lip gloss, while Catherine is cold and unfriendly. Again, pay attention to the wording. Kate, taken aback, went into her handbag and reluctantly pulled out a small tube. Meg squeezed some onto her finger and applied it to her lips. Kate grimaced. Now, unless Meghan is writing this excerpt, I can't imagine a grown man paying attention to a lip gloss exchange between 2 women. Small clash of styles, maybe? Something we should have been able to laugh about soon after, but it left a little mark. And then the press sensed something was up and tried to turn it into something bigger. Here we go, I thought sorrowfully.
That is not true at all.
So let me get this straight. You wanted to laugh about the exchange of lip gloss that wasn't that serious? What is there to laugh at? It's not like an actual incident took place, and what mark was left exactly. If Meghan and Harry are so offended by Catherine not wanting to share her lip gloss while pregnant, which is a very common practice, then maybe they should get a reality check and stop being so sensitive and overly dramatic. But as we can tell, they're nitpicking about things to complain about. And I can only imagine if such a small story like this garnered this entire scene in his book, it kind of gives you an idea about how they deal with things in general. As I wrote on Twitter, Harry complaining in his book that Meghan felt some type of way when Catherine was reluctant to share her lip gloss with her is comical. That's the best you got? A girly lip gloss story? The entitlement and victim behavior jumped out. Follow me for more gems. He wrote, the press sensed something was up. What, were they watching this lip gloss exchange go down, or what exactly? Also, the press didn't sense anything, so that's a blatant lie. The articles from that time were beaming at the interaction, calling them the Fab Four. He also failed to mention that Meghan was invited to the public event with the royal family, something they usually don't do unless you are married into the family. Forbes literally wrote, the wedding will officially make Miss Markle a royal. Today's message from the Windsors was, the royal family thinks she's a royal right now. Everyone was talking about how these 4 are the new look of the modern monarchy. The Daily Mail released a whole article covering the event and highlighting Meghan's past charity work that I personally can count on one hand. And 1 year after the wedding, Meghan and Harry split from the Royal Foundation in an effort to have their own foundation, spotlight, and as we can see, this whole mess of a Hollywood reality TV show gone wrong. A lot of you guys expressed that you don't share your lip gloss with anyone, and to be honest, as an American, neither do I. I've seen my friends get put in uncomfortable situations when other friends ask for lip gloss, mascara, a sip from their drink. Nothing is wrong with being hygienic, and you guys said it best. I wouldn't like to share lip gloss with someone I barely know. Who knows where their mouth has been? Catherine shared the lip gloss. The complaint is she wasn't enthusiastic enough. I mean, cold sores can kill a baby. Every pregnant woman knows that. So no, you don't share lip gloss when pregnant. I wouldn't share it with anyone anyway. It's gross. And someone made an interesting point writing, "Here's the thing, it wasn't about the lip gloss, it was a control manipulation game. She put Catherine in an awkward situation to see how she would react. Nothing but a head game." And this is what Harry doesn't understand about Meghan. Meghan is that person in school who you know doesn't like you, doesn't get along with you, goes out of her way to start drama, but then she likes to play all nice and victim and be like, all I wanted was just some lip gloss. Obviously, there was tension between Catherine and Meghan. She knew it, Catherine knew it, the press knew it, and Meghan was going out of her way to be annoying. This isn't a secret, so when she wants to cosplay as a nice person, it just makes you more infuriated. Men may not be able to spot this, but women know what I'm talking about. Let me know in the comments if you know a girl who pulls these manipulation victims like innocent Megs who falls to the floor sobbing at the slightest inconvenience. Number 2. Tensions over Princess Charlotte's bridesmaid dress. Who really cried? Harry's virgin. And once again, Meghan was on the ground sobbing, Harry writes for the millionth time. I'm gonna talk about this next because really, who's believing this drama? Meghan and Kate's fallout over Princess Charlotte's bridesmaid dress has been the topic of discussion for 5 years now. Of course, Harry elaborated on it by telling us his version in Spare. He writes, "There was a problem with the dresses for the bridesmaids, apparently. They needed altering." So there was a problem, not apparently a problem. Again, notice the wording used to confuse and manipulate the reader into seeing a story from his lens. He writes, "Meg didn't reply to Kate straight away." Keep this in mind when we notice the tension between the text exchange that Private Harry so graciously leaked. Yes, she had endless wedding-related texts, but mostly she was dealing with the chaos surrounding her father. Excuses upon excuses upon excuses. So the next morning she texted Kate that our tailor was standing by, at the palace. His name was AJ. This wasn't sufficient. They set up a time to speak that afternoon. Did Kate tell him that wasn't sufficient, or did his girly behavior tell him, or did his wife who speaks through him tell him? I think these are valid questions, no? Here's the text exchange that happened according to Harry's recollections in Spare. Catherine supposedly said, "Charlotte's dress is too big, too long, too baggy. She cried when she tried it on at home." To which Meghan replied, "Right, and I told you the tailor has been standing by since 8 AM. Here, at KP. Can you take Charlotte to have it altered, as the other mums are doing? No, all the dresses need to be remade." I'm not sure what else to say. If the dress doesn't fit, then please take Charlotte to see AJ. He's been waiting all day. Fine. Now, it seems like some texts are omitted, but let's just go with Harry's version for now. In all honesty, they seem passive-aggressive, especially with Meghan, who was causing chaos behind the scenes according to many sources and endless reports, but in text, she wants to be politically correct, but still, she manages to come off as passive. You can't hide it. Kate is writing her issues with Charlotte's dress, and all the bridesmaid dresses had issues, by the way. We're gonna get to them, and the tailor just spoke out recently, so I'm gonna tell you what he said. But basically, when Kate brings that up to Meghan, Meghan says, "Right, well, you can go tailor it yourself." Is basically what she's saying. Harry even says that Meghan told Kate if she knew what was happening with her father in the media, and Kate said yes, but the wedding is in 4 days, to which victim Meg supposedly replied, "Yes, Kate, I know." The tailor, AJ Murpuri, spoke to Page 6 recently, and when asked if he was aware of any drama between the two royal women, he said, "Not at all, everyone was very cooperative and in a good mood. We were contacted by a PA a few days before May 14, which is when we first went in." He also said that his team had to work through the night to finish all 6 dresses. So it was a very high-tension situation with the wedding coming up, and Kate is completely validated to be concerned that the 6 dresses had to be tailored, something Harry doesn't mention in the book, conveniently. He writes as if it was just Kate making a big deal about Charlotte's dress only, when in reality all 6 had to be tailored. AJ's team literally had to work through the night. And just because Meghan was cutting off her father and playing the media game with him, doesn't mean that Kate, who was pregnant and had her own duties to deal with, has to do what exactly? Pat Meghan's head and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you have issues with your father. Why don't I tailor the dresses myself?" It's just obvious that Harry is purposely leaving information out to make it seem like Catherine is nitpicking or overreacting when it comes to his angelic wife. Catherine's uncle, Gary Goldsmith, criticizes Harry's recollection of the story, writing, "How dare Harry share such a confidence involving a young child? How he has the temerity to talk about moving to the US to protect his family and their privacy when he is prepared to violate his niece's confidentiality is base hypocrisy. Harry, of course, purposely left out important details, more specifically how Meghan supposedly body-shamed Princess Charlotte, who was only 3 years old. Tom Bower investigated this story for his book Revenge, where he writes that Kate Middleton did indeed burst into tears after Meghan compared Princess Charlotte unfavorably to her best friend Jessica Mulroney's daughter Isabel during a dress fitting before the wedding. He says that they both did not see eye to eye about the length of Charlotte's hemline or the fit of her dress, and they disagreed on whether Meghan's bridesmaids should wear tights at the wedding. He also says that Jessica Mulroney and her mother supported Meghan's instance in the row with Kate. Funny how Meghan cut off Jessica Mulroney after she didn't need anything else from her. Where is Jessica in Meghan's life now? Royal aides also did not deny the incident had taken place amid claims that the duchesses are very different people. At the time, there were endless reports that Meghan is understood to have insisted on the very best for her big day, but the fitting did not go according to her demands. So the issue really was with all of Meghan's outrageous demands that came at the comforts and look of the children. What makes everyone believe these third parties who aren't the royal family or Harry and Meghan? They're unbiased, they investigated the situation, and they are not the only ones reporting this same story. If several sources are reporting a story, it kinda gives credibility to the story. A source close to Prince William and Catherine told Tailor magazine in 2020, it was a hot day and apparently there was a row over whether the bridesmaids should wear tights or not. Kate, following protocol, felt that they should. Meghan didn't want them to. And Charlotte did seem very uncomfortable the day of the wedding, fidgeting around, seemingly uncomfortable with the heat and the fact that she wasn't wearing tights. And a few months later at Princess Eugenie's wedding, all the kids were seen wearing tights. But the palace, who apparently never defended Meghan or Harry or was willing to lie to protect them, according to what our favorite victims said on their Netflix soap opera, released a statement at the time denying that the feud ever unfolded, and saying Tailor's article hosted a swath of inaccuracies and false misrepresentations. Despite the fact that the feud did actually happen, considering it was retold in multiple books, including Harry's, and what was said in the Tailor article wasn't the only time the story was told, giving it more credibility. Meghan also recalled the story on Oprah, claiming the reverse happened about who cried and that everyone in the institution knew it wasn't true. Also failing to mention that the palace actually did release a statement saying that, despite it being true. And yet, here is Harry recalling the story events exactly how it was said in the media, but from his lens and with a little victim sprinkled over Meghan. And Kate did indeed cry. Remember what I said in part 3 of my spare coverage? Harry wrote that Meghan disrespectfully said that Kate had baby brain and that made her cry, something that Meghan conveniently left out of the Oprah interview. Where is the truth? Definitely not in Spare. Harry also recalls how Kate came over with flowers to apologize to Meghan, something that Meghan also said on Oprah, and he even writes that Meghan's bestie Lindsay was there in the kitchen, of course to confirm that Kate did show up. But this just makes them look worse, because if Kate still managed to apologize after raising valid concerns with Meghan about bridesmaid dresses that needed her approval, it reflects badly on Meghan and Harry for constantly including a story to vilify Kate even after she apologized. What is the point of constantly repeating the story? Charlotte is now 7 years old, turning 8 this May. How many times are you going to whine about a story that at the end of the day, you got your apology for? Imagine apologizing to someone and thinking you buried the hatchet, but they continue to bring it up countless times throughout the years. It's unforgiving at that point. Harry then writes his favorite one-liner, which he repeats 6,000 times. Meghan was on the floor sobbing. Number 3. Meghan sobbing on the floor at any inconvenience. After the bridesmaid dresses row, Harry writes, "A short time later, I arrived home and found Meg on the floor, sobbing."
Sure, Jan.
No joke. This is how I see the situation going. Meghan watching from the window, waiting for Harry to come home. As soon as she sees him walking up, she conveniently throws herself on the floor and starts sobbing. Of course, starting with the left eye tear first.
One tear, left eye, go.
I have a very hard time believing that Kate's 3 texts that weren't mean, weren't rude, weren't anything besides a concern that needed approval from the overly demanding bride were enough to send Meghan to a sobbing fest on the floor. Also, why not on the couch? Why not on the dining room table? Why not on the toilet? I can give our little Megs a few other spots to change up her sobbing scene. But no, Harry insists that she's always sobbing, often on the floor. In another instance in the book, he writes that 2 hours later when I got home, I found her inconsolable, sobbing, shaking. What is it? What's happened? She could barely get the story out. I'm gonna talk about this specific story in my next video, since this video has already gotten so long, and I promise you, you guys do not want to miss this one because this one is just so funny. But for the sake of time, Meghan was sobbing after her grocery shopping trip to Whole Foods. Yeah, that one time wearing his hat and circling around Kensington Palace and the Daily Mail offices, making sure to enter from the front and waiting to get photographed. And here are the only 3 photos we have of her, by the way. Enough to make her sob, according to a story about someone chasing her down the deli counter at Whole Foods. I'm not trolling, I swear, that's the nonsense written. Here's another sobbing moment. Harry writes, I walked home from the office and found Meg sitting on the stairs. She was, drumroll please, what do you think he's going to say? Sobbing uncontrollably. My love, what's happened? I thought we'd for sure lost the baby. I went to her on my knees. She choked out that she didn't want to do this anymore. Do what? Live.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Harry. You seem to be in an emotionally abusive relationship that everyone else can see through except you. Meghan, of course, is someone I imagine looking outside the window, waiting for him to enter so she can whisper to herself, action, and start sobbing on the floor, the stairs, the bathtub, probably in my house, in yours. It's just so obvious that she's always conveniently sobbing just as he walks into the house. Talk about trauma for him. He's almost psychologically conditioned to find her sobbing about something. In the Netflix soap opera, Abigail, one of Meghan's friends, said that Meghan collapsed to the floor as she held Archie due to stress and then she later miscarried. Now, the miscarriage we will discuss in my episode 6 recap of the Netflix soap opera because Meghan changed her story like 3 times and Abigail was not there in one of the story changes. So now that Abigail is also feeding us the same collapse to the store narrative, one can only assume she's reading from the same script that Harry is reading from. Meghan also says that she collapsed in a security guard's arms and started crying after she completed her final royal tour. How many times did she collapse to the ground and start sobbing? I counted 5 times. And how many times is this resilient, strong Meghan gonna fall to the floor and sob and weep at any moment? She's branded as resilient on Netflix, but for what exactly? And that wraps up this video. Please let me know if you enjoyed it so I can keep covering Spare. There are a bunch of other crazy details exposed, so let me know if you guys want me to make more videos. Comment your thoughts, like and subscribe for more. Check out our Meghan and Harry playlist, follow us on our social media, and as always, I'll see you next time.